Welcome to
Smarkville, a podcast where three millennials sit and talk about pro wrestling.
Welcome to Smarkville, episode 7. I'm Brian Batiste.
And I'm John Bradley.
And we're back again, just 2 or 3 days after the last you've heard from us if you try to actually follow us on an episode-by-episode basis.
And this is a special one because it's episode 7.
Is that how many Star Wars there were?
No, I think there were... Oh, God.
Well, there were 6. But
there
now
were 6.
This is going to be the 7th.
I feel like 7 is just a lucky number. Is it because we grew up in the 7th Heaven era?
Yes.
Did you ever watch 7th Heaven?
No.
Do you want to see how far we can trail off before we even start?
That's fine. We're going to go back to our, normal formula of recapping Raw, which just happened about an hour. It just went off the air about an hour and 39 minutes ago. Wow, it's been that long already.
Oh, I miss it. So, nope, don't. It was a good match. It was a good Raw.
A good match.
It was a good long Cena match.
For the second week in a row, we ended up starting Raw with
Brock Lesnar.
And just like most of his appearances, it was him bouncing around in the ring, doing his warm-up moves, and Paul Heyman discussing his resume of destruction and what he will do to Seth Rollins on Sunday at Battleground.
We have a joke here at this house. I've had a joke with other friends that watch wrestling, and I'm guessing a lot of people have this joke. Next time Brock is on the screen with Paul, notice how much more he bounces when Paul says his name. Like, it's like he's standing there, and then Paul says his name, and he's like, oh, he said my name, I got it down.
Yeah, he gets super pumped up.
He's so pumped.
I mean, if the audience is getting pumped up off Paul Heyman, then he is.
I've heard an interview of something where Paul was just like, yeah, I usually run like what I'm going to say by Brock to see if he likes it or not. But it's like the joke is that he's just kind of sitting there waiting until he hears his name and then he jumps around.
I had a couple notes about Kane that I had for this first segment, but I'm going to hold them off till the end since they have more relevance there, outside of Paul Heyman saying, I know we're not supposed to talk about you being The Undertaker's brother and the fact that you're angry that we defeated his streak at WrestleMania.
Are you holding them off because you're rushing to get to the Ryback, Randy Orton, Big Show, and Sheamus match?
Yeah, I didn't really put any sort of notes into that match because how many weeks in a row has Ryback been in the first match now? 3?
Big Show. Big Show's the one that's always in the first one.
Okay.
So this is 3 weeks in a row with Big Show, and then The Miz is on commentary for every single one.
And The Miz is just doing the whole talking shit in the microphone, trying to distract both Big Show and Ryback and hit him while they're distracted.
The notes I have here is that match ran for 15 minutes.
Oh my God, really?
That's insane.
What was I doing? I must have been making macaroni and cheese.
You were making mac and cheese, but it kept running. Like it would cut to so many commercials. We had a packed house here tonight watching Raw, and I feel like the most repeated commentary while watching Raw was that it kept cutting to commercials.
Yeah, there's I feel like there used to be like 1 or 2 matches on every Raw that have like a commercial break.
Yeah.
In between, but now it's like every single match, whether like they cut it off at the entrance of the first wrestler, and then after one high spot and someone starts taunting in the ring, it goes to commercial.
No, this cut I want to say this match cut 3 or 4 times.
It was a 3-segment match and no one gave a shit.
No, and it's in the first hour. Like if I was just a casual viewer and I was like, oh, I want to watch the Home Run Derby or something like that, I would just tune out.
But this match was considered their response to the All-Star game. Because it was Randy
they called
Orton.
it the All-Star game of matches.
Yeah. No.
And I was wondering, if you're Randy Orton, and I mean, I'm sure if you're Randy Orton, you're just pumped to be going on vacation with your girlfriend or wife and kissing her weirdly in your Instagram photo.
Weird mouth kissing.
Or and you're pumped about a paycheck and you've done your stuff, you've had your title run. Or are you bummed that now you're in this mid-card dilemma? Well, okay, so today we have Randy Orton on Smarkville. Hi, Randy, how's it going?
Hey.
So, you're the Viper. You've got some venom in your lungs. How do you feel about your next pay-per-view match being against Sheamus?
Well, I'm trying to be entertaining, and Sheamus constantly enters with, are you entertained? That's what he says. Are you entertained?
Yeah, Randy.
And I know that he's not entertaining, so I'm trying to be entertaining.
Do you miss Dave Bautista?
I don't.
Do you miss when you were friends with Triple H?
Sometimes.
Do you miss having some like existing in the cloud of the heavyweight championship belt?
I like that people make vines about me RKOing people. That's pretty funny.
Would you rather exist in this middle card area and still be the king of... This is what it is. Here are the two people...
Finish the question?
Nope. Here are the two people that exist outside of WWE in WWE's eyes. Randy Orton, because of his vines that cross the threshold.
I hear voices in my head.
And Eva Marie. So that's where we are in this world.
What is his future, honestly?
Retirement.
No, because he's still, like, young.
What is he like? I mean, young, yes, but in terms of like...
He still has, like, a solid 5 years left in him.
If you're Randy Orton right now, who are you looking at in the future?
Any sort of NXT guy they bring up. I'd watch him versus Owens.
We did talk about how that would be cool.
I'd watch him versus Sami Zayn. I'd watch him versus Balor. I mean, you know, once they bring those guys up, it opens up a new world for every, like, top guy.
Oh, and we did fantasy book Orton over and Balor.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's keep him in there. Thank you for being on the show, Randy.
You're welcome.
I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Sweet.
So now we have Brian back, and we'll get back to Raw.
Let's get back to talking about how Ryback was trying to be a luchador with these little high spots here and there. Michael Hayes was probably pulling out what was left of his hair backstage because he's super not pumped on big guys getting on the top rope. I remember going back to Randy Orton, how he used to try to do a lot of high-flying moves at the top rope and stuff, and they were telling him to, like, chill out and just not do that because big guys probably shouldn't... It's not as cool when big guys do big moves like that.
So did he hate Rusev? Because I remember when Rusev came, that was, like, the big deal.
Oh.
Because I feel like... I get it, like, oh, the big guys shouldn't be coming off the top rope, but I also feel like it adds to their realm.
If RVD does a 5-star frog splash... Not that he did a frog splash, but Ryback did like a 1-star splash. It just looked like he fell from the top rope onto somebody.
Yeah, and I pointed out he falls from the top rope, but it's like he's not on the turnbuckle. He gets on the turnbuckle and then gets onto the side.
Yeah.
And then jumps off.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Yeah.
That's actually a note on my notes. Ryback's shitty splash.
And I think that's the only one you had for that match.
That's it.
Ryback and Randy Orton win.
So next we were like, oh, okay, cool. It's going to be a Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose because we haven't been privy to that match, you know, on television in about a couple months. So they're like, hey, let's do that match again. Luckily, they threw a swerve in there and, you know, no pun intended.
Was that a push for Swerved?
That came on WWE Network immediately following Raw.
Yeah.
We'll watch that tonight too, maybe.
Cool.
But, I thought we were going to have to, you know, watch that match again and watch Ambrose, who's directionless, super directionless, because, you know, when all's said and done tonight, Bray Wyatt blew out his lantern. Roman Reigns was standing behind him and finally got the upper hand for the first time since that feud started and knocked Wyatt around a little bit. Ambrose was already in the ring and then just, I guess, stepped off to the side. There was no mention of what happened to him, and he essentially got to make his entrance on live television and then disappeared.
And didn't do anything.
And has no match this Sunday. Maybe they'll put him in the pre-show with Barrett and R-Truth.
WWE, show us signs if you're listening to our podcast and using our fantasy booking to book your pay-per-view pre-matches. Next pre-match, give me Stardust and Bo Dallas.
I would love that.
I feel like they heard it. This is a joke, but I'm going to play it. I feel like they heard us saying, yeah, why don't you just put him back on the pre-match? And then they were like, cool, we'll do that, John and Brian.
Like, yeah, it's perfect.
That's a great idea. You guys should work for us for a year and then quit and talk to every other podcast about how it sucks.
I speculated for weeks, and everyone always told me I was stupid, and it wasn't going to happen until closer to SummerSlam.
I didn't say that.
Well,
I said I hope that it happens.
Brendan did.
After a couple weeks.
Anyway, we got Nikki Bella, Team Bella out in the ring, doing their whole, you know, they're the head of the Divas division, whether it's Total Divas or anything in general with WWE. And Stephanie McMahon came out and had somewhat of a face-like mentality because she kind of ran down Nikki, who's kind of being the heel, and was like, hey, we're here to, change the Divas division and women's wrestling in general. We want to flip it on its head and start a revolution. So we got who did she introduce first? First she introduced Paige.
Paige came out, and then Becky Lynch.
Yes, Becky Lynch came out.
Which was like the not expected one.
But she did not have the steampunk goggles that you could buy on WWE Shop for $9.99.
She was getting hate from the crowd that was in the house for the get-up that she has had in the past couple weeks with like the trench coat and everything. But I like that better than whatever weird like prison thing she's wearing now, like that 1920s prison get-up with the stripes.
You have $9.99 in your pocket. It's July 29th. You can either pay for another month of WWE Network or you can buy Becky Lynch's steampunk goggles.
I mean, by July 29th, they'll be on sale for $1.99.
Are you saying that there's no backing of Becky Lynch in the WWE universe, that kids across the world aren't going to use that for Halloween costumes?
No, there's a backing. I mean, I would buy them if they're fun, but I just feel like by July 29th, if she is now going to be wearing this outfit, the steampunk goggles are old.
So we had that. Then we had Charlotte came out. They finally pushed the whole Charlotte, Ric Flair's daughter. She was bred to be this, wrestler. She got somewhat of a good pop. And then I was kind of disappointed because I was like, oh, man, Sasha Banks, NXT Women's Champion, best theme music in the game. I thought they were going to use her, but maybe they think, hey, we're overstepping boundaries. We already had NXT champion Kevin Owens brought up to the roster while he was still champion. They didn't want to do that. But then Naomi came out with, what's her name?
Tamina Snooki.
Sheezel. Tamini Snooki.
Tamini Snooki. She's a brick.
Ow.
Does anybody ever sing that song and not put the pause there?
I don't know.
If they do, there's something wrong with them.
But they came out, and as soon as Naomi came... I've never been so excited to see Naomi in her light-up shoes because I knew they were going to bring out the boss, Sasha Banks. And that is what happened. Best theme music in the game. I would really like to actually see her sing that song, even though I know it's heavily manipulated with like auto-tune and stuff for production purposes. I'm interested to hear how she could sing. And someone asked her on Periscope, but she didn't do it.
I was really hoping that the rest of the podcast would just be that entire song playing out, and then we stop talking for the rest of it.
It can be. It could be, hold on. It could be like really subtle in the background.
Can we just keep it going in the background while we talk?
Probably.
That song makes me cry.
Why?
She had a dream that something was going to go her way. Like, Sasha Banks is 23. She worked her buns off to be in NXT, to then go on the main roster, and tonight at 23, just a little bit older than Paige, just a wee bit older than Paige was, she makes the main roster as the championship holder. And her dream was going her way.
Seriously, I'm going to keep it in the background.
That's fine. I think it might make me cry from now on.
No, I won't do that. But she came out, and then we had a 9-diva standoff, which
and
was...
we were popped out here.
That was probably the best moment on Raw.
That was the biggest pop in this household that we've seen in a while.
I was so freaking excited. I've been waiting for that for weeks.
That's awesome. This was a good Raw.
If I wouldn't be like hardcore judged in public, I would buy a Like a Boss shirt.
If people, yeah, like the legit boss.
Yeah, they should, like her next shirt I'll buy because it probably won't have like that shiny stuff on it.
I've debated buying it, but I know that people would be like, oh, you must be into some weird, dumb bro jokes for your legit boss.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm into this weird wrestling thing.
Like that shirt, as definitive of her image as it is, her character, it is the most like you walked in the Spencer's and bought that.
She's awesome.
With your weed wallet.
She's awesome.
She is.
She had a dream and she made it.
They kept her pretty strong too in the the beatdown that ensued and ended with all 3 NXT divas putting Team Bella in submission moves.
I loved it. What's next?
Primetime players.
I mean, we could keep talking about this, but
Up next, the primetime players.
They're the tag team champs.
I did not know that you made that.
What?
I didn't know you made a primetime players spot.
I didn't. I literally just did that vocal live over top of sound effects.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, because I was like...
Coming up next, the primetime players.
I didn't know that voice came out of nowhere.
I can do that voice out of nowhere just like RKO's.
All right, primetime players came out with Mark Henry against The New Day.
Poor New Day can't catch a fucking break.
I think they're going to go over this Sunday.
I'd be okay with that.
Wait, is there even a match this Sunday?
Yes, rematch.
Okay, I think that they're going to go over.
It's okay. Wikipedia will confirm it.
No, I believe you. I'm trying to get it out. I want to know, like, everything that's happening. I want to get the card out because I know that that's what we usually do for the go-home.
They might add, like, 1 or 2 matches after SmackDown, too. Because I think there was only 5 confirmed matches thus far.
I have 7 so far, including the pre-show.
Did they add a Divas match?
No Divas.
They're going to have to.
Does that mean that we have to watch SmackDown?
I guess. I mean, and by that I mean I'll pay attention to the spoilers that are happening tomorrow and then not watch SmackDown.
Because I feel like they wouldn't not have a Divas match.
Yeah, actually, I think they're actually booked for SmackDown. So
perfect. So we had the primetime players: Mark Henry, Kofi Kingston, Big E, and Xavier Woods. Whatever, it happened. There were probably commercials in it.
It was a match with a commercial break.
A whole lot of cool Titus moves. I know that a lot of us were pumped on the Titus moves. We like seeing Titus throw people. It's fun.
I do not remember anything in this match besides Mark Henry giving the world's strongest slam
to Xavier Woods, and then it ended.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I told you I knew it was Xavier Woods.
I think that you were making mac and cheese. I think that was exactly when you started eating the mac and cheese or plating your mac and cheese deluxe.
It could be.
So yeah, it was an okay match. It seems like right now in the swing of things, the tag teams are just, I don't know if it's too many wrestlers on the field or if it's just like their matches are getting cut short, but they're not that memorable right now.
Yeah, and it's funny that the matches would be cut short because one of my notes on here outside of the millions of dollars dance that they had to Mark Henry do, and the fact we saw grown men with their kids doing the millions of dollar dance.
Yeah.
Is the endless recaps because as soon as that match was over, they gave us the same recap on what happened with Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. The same 6-minute montage that opened Raw, they replayed it again.
Like less than an hour later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matches get shortened because we need to see the same thing that they've been pumping on YouTube channels and the beginning of the show.
And then King Barrett versus R-Truth for the 4th or 5th week in a row.
Again.
For the 4th or 5th month in the row.
As if we haven't been privy enough to watch Truth Barrett on a pre-show, we're going to get it again.
So we talked about it in a podcast before this when we were amping up for Beast in the East. We did a King of the Ring on 2K15. R-Truth won the King of the Ring in 2K15, not planned. Last night, we were bored. We did 2K15 again. R-Truth versus Randy Orton. At the end of it, Randy Orton had it. Randy Orton chose not to pin R-Truth yet because Randy Orton wanted to really sell this match and wanted to keep it going.
He wanted to win the match on his terms.
He wanted to win the match on his terms with a finisher. Backfired. R-Truth won the match. Won King of the Ring 2 years in a row, and he's still King Truth. We learned from 2K15 that R-Truth has an insanely cool set of moves that we never really get to see.
I know, outside of the first couple and the hump taunt.
The hump taunt.
Which did come out tonight.
It did. So we've been watching more of R-Truth. It's actually kind of crazy, and let us know if you have found this, you being the listener that exists, if you have seen that you play a wrestler on 2K15 just for fun, you're just like, oh, this will be funny, and then you start watching them more often on the shows and being like, oh, okay, they are really cool, because that's where we're at with R-Truth right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty into him outside of the whole plunger and Burger King crown.
I love that part.
The internet thinks it's pretty racist. There's a very hypercritical backlash on his King thing.
Okay, I could see that, but I mean, WWE being racist is not newsflash. Like, it's not a good thing, but
I think regular listener Kevin Kelly actually alluded to that during last week's Raw.
that it's racist that he has a plunger.
Well, just notoriously racist gimmicks
Oh,
and how
yeah,
they always go to that.
It's terrible.
Kofi being Jamaican for a while. And
He was Jamaican, and
he
then
had Jamaican
yeah.
vignettes when he was on the beach and stuff.
That was bad. You could keep going.
Muhammad Hassan.
There's just so many bad ones.
Coming up next, we had Rusev entering the ring because he responded to John Cena's open challenge for the United States title. Shortly thereafter that, he did a burn on Lana. He called her a blonde, snake-headed witch of a woman, which people did not react nicely to. They were pretty bummed that there was no Lana since she's devastated by Dolph Ziggler's crutch injury to his larynx. And just when you thought you were going to get John Cena versus Rusev Part 5, he was interrupted by Kevin Owens, who said, "Hey, I'm going to fight you for the title tonight, and you can get your rematch on Sunday." And then Cesaro came out, who I thought would have had a bigger pop given how ridiculous his match was last week. But they didn't really give that to him or really anybody anything all night.
Yeah.
They gave the "This is awesome" chant for the Divas, but they were a very unresponsive crowd.
Yeah, we were making note of that it seemed as if they just didn't really care about it after a certain point.
If you're not doing a show in Philly, Chicago, Brooklyn's good, anywhere in Canada, LA, anywhere tri-state area period, the crowd is just dead. Like, they're not that into it, and it's not their fault. It's just like they're not wrestling cities. They're not bred to react that way. Like,
Well, then if that's the case, Tennessee is good.
no,
There should be. Memphis.
no, because Memphis was where Fastlane was, and we were just talking about how
That's
awful
right.
the crowd was
That's
the whole
right.
time.
Yeah, it just seems like, I mean, it's also like the product they're being given isn't the greatest, but they're
It
not
doesn't
really
matter.
popping for a lot of people.
Philly will pop regardless of whether it's positive or negative, and they'll let you know about it. So it gives it, for a viewer at home, it makes it just seem a lot bigger of a thing than it is.
So Cesaro didn't get a pop, but then they decided that it would be a triple threat match. Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Rusev. The winner would then immediately face John Cena.
Yes, which is kind of messed up in a sense because you knew whoever it was. I mean, not that he was going to drop the title on Raw anyway, but it was pretty obvious whoever he fought was going to be like destroyed and go down pretty quickly, almost like a cash-in.
Yeah. We predicted very quickly that Kevin Owens would not win for some reason, and then Cesaro would probably win. We were wrong there. It was Rusev. But then we did predict that Kevin Owens would interfere in the actual match.
It's not so much that Rusev beat Cesaro, it's more in the manner in which he did. He just did like a super kick to his tits, and that's how he lost.
I get that you have to put the wrestlers over as the commentators. You're looking at the same screen that we are, and then some. Like, you can see even more. Don't tell me, I mean, I guess do whatever you want, it's your job, but it is not fun to see a super kick go straight to the pectoral muscles and then have the announcer saying, "He kicked him right in the chin."
Yeah, we were all just like, nope, that was the chest.
At least, like, I'll give you credit because when Cesaro does the, like, pop-up uppercut, you'll say, like, oh, yeah, well, he didn't really get him right on the chin, so he didn't get the 3 count. That's fine. But that kick was right on the chest.
What did Michael Cole call it? A bounce back spinning uppercut? Something like that?
Something like that. So Rusev wins.
Cesaro with another solid showing on Raw, though.
Yeah, very good. I'm pumped they're giving him this push.
I'll take it. I mean, there was less cheesy shout-outs to Tyson Kidd outside of him using the sharpshooter.
Cena trying to put over Rusev and Cesaro. So eventually at some point Kevin Owens just walks out. He just goes, I'm done. So it's Cesaro versus Rusev for a while. Cena putting over the mid-cards. Normally you can't see me, but I feel invisible because all eyes are on the WWE Universe watching the match in the ring.
You took the words right out of my mouth because that was like the one thing that stuck with me when he said it, and I liked that they showed him on commentary and he still did the "you can't see me" gesture in front of his face.
I thought that he did, but I also thought that I was just out of my mind and was hoping he was doing it because I think somebody next to me also did the "you can't see me."
You thought he thought he was itching his forehead or something?
I just was like, that's so insane. Yeah, it was a cool, like, critiquing like crazy. I like that John Cena is putting people over. I don't feel like we now have to script him to pat himself on the back. Like, hey, guys, look at how much I'm putting people over and letting people that normally wouldn't get a spotlight get a spotlight.
Yeah, there's not as much internet hate with John Cena because, he's consistently putting on the best matches and making everybody else look like $1 million when he wrestles them.
Yeah, so we get it.
Speaking of looking like $1 million and millions of dollars, that's the theme tonight. We were next privy to an appearance by Lita, who was, all dolled up, ready to go. She came out with the cast of Tough Enough, and she introduced all of them one by one. And who got the biggest pop of the night?
ZZ.
My boy ZZ.
Patrick got a really big pop.
Because anyone that actually pays attention knows, that he's going to win. He'll be a big baby face. It's good for him if he wins to get in the NXT. He's passionate. He knows the product. I mean, I don't know if Tough Enough warrants a separate podcast like people have said for Total Divas or anything else because of how ridiculous Total Divas is. But with Tough Enough, since we live tweet the hell out of it, Patrick is a clear-cut winner, and I think they even alluded to that on Tough Talk last week when it was revealed he was the only one that woke up at 5:30 in the morning to watch the Beast in the East special.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that might hurt Patrick is because it's such a viewer-voted thing, but at the same time, the judges
they
have
could save him. He will win that. He will win.
Yeah.
It'll come down to him, Tanner, and, somebody else.
My interest in Tanner is fading. My interest in Sarah Lee still exists.
You were all about Sarah Lee.
I think she's great.
And I help you out by saving her from the bottom 3 for the second week in a row.
You do that for me?
I don't do it for myself.
Who else would you have saved last week?
I don't know. Who else was in the bottom? I would have saved ZZ.
I mean, if Patrick is... You didn't, though.
I know. I saved Sarah Lee.
You're the best.
Yeah.
I think if Patrick was in the bottom 3, I would have saved him.
Oh, yeah. He'll never be in the bottom. I mean, they might try to throw him in the bottom 3 just to say they did it. They do that in The Voice and certain things sometimes where it's you're always so good and this week you got too full of yourself so you're in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
But everyone knows he's going to win.
Or he won't win because they
sabotage him just like Daniel Bryan felt bad that they put Jersey Devil in the bottom 3 and she actually lost.
Yeah, like they do. I mean, from what I've heard, when The Miz lost, he already had his contract after that, but they just didn't want to give him whatever the contract stipulation was.
Yeah, they could. I read something that every woman that's on the show was essentially being looked at for developmental to some degree anyway, but they just are entertaining enough personalities to put them on a reality show.
Can you bring
They're
up...
doing WWE a favor by doing that show for them.
Can you bring up the spotlight thing that you said about the newest cast member? Because I was unaware of this.
She was Daniel Bryan's, well, not real life, but she was actually on WWE TV as Daniel Bryan's physical therapist. She's the one that Stephanie McMahon brought out when she said, hey, Daniel Bryan, when he was recovering from his injury, he was having an affair with his physical therapist, and Stephanie was saying that and having that done to piss off Brie, who she was getting ready to fight at SummerSlam. So it was about a year ago from now that happened. But yeah, she played the physical therapist. She essentially stood there and then got slapped in the face by Brie.
Did she try out, or did we see her trying out on the Tough Enough tryout show?
Apparently she was in it. I don't remember in that casting special if she was there, but I guess she was in the top 40.
My biggest problem with tryout shows that you're showing the public that you can access at any time. If you're going to show us tryout shows and you're going to show us people that tried their best to get onto the show, didn't make the cut, and then at some point within the first 2 or 3 weeks you eliminate members or members leave for whatever reason and you have to get new members, don't pull random XYZ members out of your ass. Pull the people that were just about to make it and then didn't.
Honestly, she probably already has a developmental deal or is about to, but they want to she's a good person to throw in to fill in. She's entertaining. She knows how to play the game a little bit. I would not be surprised if there was a little bit of show business going on with this.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Either way, Tough Enough. Next.
We're going to see Patrick get in a fight tomorrow.
That's good. Lita was amazing.
That was the best we've seen Lita look probably since, I don't know. I think she even looked better than when she did the Hall of Fame.
You know what does it? What? She's vegan.
And she likes hardcore.
Sure.
She's in a punk band.
That's tight.
Yeah. Then we got Stardust.
Oh. This was a Raw for our hearts.
And if it was any other city, well, not any other city, but if it was in one of the aforementioned good wrestling cities, yes, Stardust is a heel, but he would have got a pretty big pop for coming back. As much as we all want him to come back as Cody, I noticed in his little backstage vignette, which was similar to when he first debuted as Stardust and him and Goldust kind of started doing the weird Cosmic Key promos. He's having a hard time saying Stardust. He used to do that a lot, but now I notice he kind of got to the point where he's supposed to say Stardust in a promo, and it just kind of stops.
I would like to see the storyline of eventually he comes back and he's fighting him, or not fighting, but he's battling himself because he wants to be Cody, but he also wants to be Stardust. I really like Stardust. I know that a lot of people are bored with him already because they felt like he's too similar to Goldust. I don't know. He's a totally different person, and I think he puts way more of himself as an actor and as a gimmick into Stardust than he ever would be able to with Cody Rhodes.
Stardust served a purpose when it was with Goldust, but when it's just him now, it's weird.
I disagree.
Really?
I would love to see Stardust go all the way to the top, and I think that if he does it correctly and if they give him the best push they can, he could be pretty high up there. I don't know if it's too late. I don't know if they missed their shot, but...
#fantasy booking.
#fantasy booking. Stardust is a heavyweight champion at some point within the next 3 years.
The crowd always chants Cody at the beginning of his matches, which essentially will be the reason why they need to turn him back, because they can't do that forever. I'm hoping when he reverts back to Cody that at first it's in moveset, when he starts doing certain things like the disaster kick and things like that, they can kind of start pulling it off that. And I noticed Fastlane, he wrestled Goldust and he had no top on and he had like minimal makeup.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool way for him to go through a match against Goldust, or, a returning Goldust or anything like that, and how his face paint gets removed, so by the end of the match he kind of just is like Cody again. So
Brendan, the third member of the podcast, was here, and he made note that his hair is growing out.
Yes.
Not Brendan's hair. The preposition or whatever, participle, particle, wasn't there.
Brendan hair is not growing.
Brendan hair is not growing. Brendan hair just got cut.
Did you say that on purpose?
So he made a point that Cody Rhodes' hair is growing out, which is a sign of Cody and not Stardust.
Yes. So
Stars don't have hair.
Maybe we'll get that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Then we had the
Stardust Neville.
I almost skipped that entirely. Stardust Neville, that was a fun match to watch, but I think we were more excited about the comic book graphics that they took the time to put into and not the match as much.
The man that gravity forgot versus the dust that stars made.
There you go.
Not really a memorable match. I don't even honestly remember any crazy Neville high spots that we typically get.
It was a roll-up pin, and he held the tights.
Okay, yeah, so he still pulled the heel move, maintained his heel persona.
He didn't do a red arrow.
There was no red arrow. That's probably the first TV match where Neville has not performed the red arrow.
I'm completely okay with him pulling back on the red arrow and only using it when he needs to.
So as much as there's a bunch of cool stuff that happened on Raw, we're already at the end of recapping because we had Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar in a contract signing, which surprisingly ended with physical contact.
And we saw more axeless axe handles.
Triple H had the sledgehammer. Dudley Boys had a table. The Hardy Boys had ladders. Edge and Christian had chairs.
And Sting has a bat.
Seth Rollins has an axe handle.
It just doesn't make sense to me. There's no connection to axe handles. And who sells axe handles without an axe?
Home Depot.
Do they really?
Lowe's.
Do they really?
Probably.
I thought you would have to buy the axe. What person is like, you know what? I'm an axaholic. I want the O'Douls of axes.
Well, there's the people that probably are attached to their... There's the people that are attached to their father's axes that got handed down to them, and it's in very bad shape, but they're very attached to the blade. So they're like, hey, let me just take this blade off and put it on a new fucking axe handle.
I guess I'm looking at it from like the kid side of it, which is not, I guess, the best way to do it because they're trying to get away from that. But like when we were a kid and we saw Triple H's sledgehammer, we're like, all right, well, we know what that is. We can associate that. When you saw Sting's bat, you were like, well, I've got a bat. That makes sense. The tables, ladders, and chairs, of course. But like, when I started seeing him with the axe handle last week, I was like, what is that? And I shouldn't have, like, the viewer should not have to question what weapon or toy you're bringing into the fold. So, Rollins eventually sees that Lesnar is back, and able to fight no matter what, and he runs off, and that leaves Kane and Lesnar to fight. The story is that now Brock picks up those very, very heavy stairs. I think Kane picked him up first, and then Brock found him again and drops them on Kane's leg. It looked like just the ankle, but on WWE.com, they say he broke his leg.
Which I'm hoping is the storyline exit of Corporate Kane, which allows him to come back, and this is solidified now. When you thought Raw was going to go off the air, Seth actually gets a microphone back, lays down more of a promo on Brock saying how he's going to beat him. I don't need anybody. I'm going to take that stupid sword tattoo off your chest. And then
good.
Lays a little bit of a promo on Kane, denouncing him and belittling him, and then actually kicks him in that injured leg again.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that sets the stage for Kane to return as masked Demon Kane and start a little feud with Seth, even if it just lasts like a pay-per-view.
I would be fine with Seth having other pay-per-views or other feuds. And
do it at Hell in a Cell or something.
I mean, I don't even know if I want to watch them go a whole match, but I'm fine with the idea of, like, Kane interferes. Kane comes out and interferes a bunch.
Watch Kane versus Daniel Bryan at Extreme Rules last year.
Oh, no, he's good. He's still good, for sure. But it's like I would rather at this point it be, if Kane's going to come back as Demon Kane, he's just going to be annoying to Seth. He's going to interfere in any feud he has and just ruin whatever time he has left.
Not if he's masked Kane. If they play the Demon card right and he just comes back as Monster Demon Kane,
yeah,
he'll just be like fucking crazy. All right, so there's Raw.
Now what? I feel like there's so many other things we could talk about. Oh, do you want to do predictions?
Oh yeah. All right, here. Give me the card for Battleground.
Pre-match.
Now this is where I'm a little bit hesitant. It may be premature because we don't have a full card yet.
Okay, so prediction. What do you think the Divas match is going to be? Because right now we're looking at 7 matches.
You're probably going to have that like 3-way 9-match thing. It'll preserve the Divas title.
Really?
And then I think something will come out of that match that leads into a Diva title match at SummerSlam.
You think they would go straight into a 9-way immediately?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll find out tomorrow.
I could see something like that. Okay. But you also have, was announced on NXT, I think, since we've talked. No, we talked about this. The takeover match of Charlotte against Sasha. That's why they had to have Sasha and Charlotte.
That's not a takeover match. That's happening Wednesday.
Oh, that's this Wednesday? I'm an idiot. All right. But I'm sure it'll get pushed to takeover as well.
Carmella, next women's champ.
I would be fine with that. Okay. So that's your prediction for the Divas division. First match on the pre-show. R-Truth versus King Barrett.
Barrett.
Oh, and the winner gets the King of the Ring crown.
Barrett.
Okay. I would go R-Truth. Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt.
I'm going to go based on standard wrestling tradition and formula that Roman Reigns had the upper hand on the go-home show for a pay-per-view. Therefore, Bray Wyatt will win, although it will not be a clean victory.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Bray, but we're going to see something like whether it's Harper comes back to help Bray or something happens to help Bray.
That'd be kind of cool.
Because you got to amp it up and make it a little bit more special. It so far isn't that enticing to the crowd.
Shut up!
You win.
I just wanted to get it in there.
I understand. We have to really put it.
Shut up!
Randy Orton versus Sheamus.
I can confidently say I don't care, but if I had to guess, I will say Sheamus.
Yeah, I think they're going to put Sheamus over, but it's a bummer because I like Orton right now.
Yeah, but I feel like since they're more protective of the briefcase than they are King of the Ring. So
I think your best bet for that is SummerSlam. You have Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Winner gets the briefcase. Randy Orton gets it, and then they just give it to somebody else. I don't know.
That'd be kind of cool.
I don't see Sheamus ever using that briefcase because he's stupid. Ryback versus Big Show versus The Miz. Triple threat for the WWE Intercontinental Championship.
As long as Ryback doesn't leave with the championship, I'm fine. I don't care if it's Big Show or Miz. Don't care.
I kind of would rather the Big Show than Ryback, and then I don't know what the Miz would do, but I do like the Miz, but I just don't know what he would add to it because he's barely ever wrestling anymore.
And the Miz has had the IC title how many times over the last 2 years, and it just didn't mean anything.
Exactly.
But I don't think he had it as douchebag Hollywood Miz, did he?
I thought he's always been douchebag Hollywood Miz for the last 3 years.
Mega douchebag Hollywood Miz with the quiet on the set. That's only been a year.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I thought he had it since in the past. I thought he's had it in the past year, but I'm probably wrong. Primetime players versus the New Day.
New Day, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree.
Nothing against PTP, but at least when New Day has the titles, there's more heat on them. They're more entertaining.
I agree with you. Okay. That's the first thing we've agreed on, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we both said Sheamus. Okay. John Cena versus Kevin Owens.
I'm hoping Kevin Owens. I don't want to see them again at SummerSlam. If anything, I hope we get Cesaro. I mean, or even like after tonight, I'd be fine with it being a fatal 4-way at SummerSlam for the U.S. title. Give me Rusev, give me Owens, give me Cena, give me Cesaro.
Yeah, I think somebody's running out because they're promoting it so heavily that it's going to be a Cena, Kevin Owens, SummerSlam. So I think somebody's going to run out and keep this going. And then SummerSlam might also include Cesaro or Rusev.
I'd be okay with hashtag fantasy booking here. I'd be okay with Owens not winning the title at Battleground, getting it in the fatal 4-way at SummerSlam, and then something happens at SummerSlam, say like Cesaro gets the U.S. title, and that kind of gives leeway for the Authority to kind of put their arm around Owens and set up that Owens-Seth feud.
I would be interested in seeing whether or not we see Rusev come out and then Dolph Ziggler comes out. I'm trying to find out if he has signed his contract yet, but I don't think
no one knows.
He has. So if he hasn't signed his contract yet, then that's probably not going to have to. But yeah, it sounds like they're trying to really sell it. Because I was thinking maybe Rusev would come out, interfere, and then Ziggler would come out. You'd get the pop for Ziggler, and then he wouldn't actually have to wrestle on a match. But all right, Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar.
I'm very unsure as to how this turns out, but I would like to stick with the outlandish prediction that the Authority turns on Seth Rollins and goes beast for business.
I would like that. I think something's going to happen where Seth keeps the title. I don't think we will see Brock as the champion in the near future. Nothing against Brock. I love Brock. I just don't think that you want to give the championship to a guy that won't be there every single Monday.
That's true.
I think that hurt them.
It worked. No, I think it worked the first time, but I think it'll be kind of tiresome the second time for him to have the title and now it disappears again.
And I think it's easier to do when you're like coming around that bend of, okay, well, you're going to be at SummerSlam. Like when the big pay-per-views are closer together, it's harder to do when it's like, well, you'll be there for SummerSlam, but then you might not be there for Night of Champions and you might not be there for whatever other stuff.
Last year, Brock wrestled Big Show at Royal Rumble, Undertaker at WrestleMania, Cena at SummerSlam, Cena at Night of Champions, and that was it.
And then, was he not at Survivor? No, at Survivor Series they had him doing other things.
He had those 4.
And that's it.
Yep. This year he wrestled Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Beast in the East, and now he's wrestling here at here at Battleground.
And then again at SummerSlam.
This Battleground will tie his appearances for last year. He's going to wrestle at SummerSlam, and then who knows past that.
And he'll probably, yeah, who knows? Because from what we understand, the contract he signed didn't add that much more. All right, so those are our predictions. We can get into 1 or 2 Kevin Kelly questions. Shout out to Kevin Kelly again. We're going to do what we can and try and get you on as a caller.
We have listener questions?
We have listener questions.
Listener questions.
I'm here to check email. Come on, check email. So Kevin writes in this story of how when he was 8 or 9, he really liked Ken Shamrock, and him and his dad would wrestle around, and he would put his dad in the ankle lock. His dad sold it really well, as if he was breaking his leg off. Since then, he's been a big fan of submission finishes. What are our favorite submission finishes of all time?
Of all time?
He says his number 1 is probably the sharpshooter just because of the image of Bret Hart versus Austin.
WrestleMania 13.
Yeah. That's not a bad one. The sharpshooter definitely is up there.
Honestly, I don't care. I'm not WWE. I'm not a WWE employee, so I have nothing to hide or pretend. Chris Benoit's crossface was brutal and awesome.
Yes.
Anytime it was locked in, it was sick.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm super pumped Cesaro uses it now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Like, Cesaro's great, but the Benoit crossface was intense. You could see the dude's freaking nose being peeled up and his upper lip because of how hard he had it, applied.
Yeah. I'll probably get crap for being like a newer one, but there were a bunch that Daniel Bryan would put in that I was just like, these are awesome. The surfing one?
Yep, surfboard.
That was good. The Yes Lock, I was like, this is cool.
It was kind of just like a modified crossface.
Yeah, I feel like the surfboard was actually really good. Favorite memory as a child pertaining to wrestling?
I have a very good answer for this.
Go ahead.
June 1998, everyone talks about King of the Ring because of Mankind and Undertaker getting, in their Hell in a Cell match, Mankind getting thrown off the cell. I, like most people my age, I'm 26, we were all super into Stone Cold, and he had a first blood match against Kane that night, and which is stupid when you really think about it now with your adult mind. Why would Stone Cold be in a first blood match with a guy that wears a mask? How would you even know he was bleeding? But you had
Was it a First Blood or an Inferno?
First Blood.
Because I know they did an Inferno match at some point too.
Maybe. I don't know if that's true.
Do you want me to check it?
I don't think Austin's ever been in an Inferno match. However, there was both a Mankind and an Undertaker run-in in that match, which is crazy considering the hell they went through in that match. No pun intended. But it ends with Austin getting busted open because Taker hits him with a chair or something like that. Austin loses the title to Kane. And I was devastated. I was like, I cannot believe he actually lost that match. Fast forward to the next night on Raw, typically in which I think it aired from 9 to 11, and I was never allowed to be up past 10 o'clock, so I would always be able to catch the first hour of Raw and then be stuck watching like Live Wire Saturday mornings to catch up on what happened on Raw. Kane is getting coronated and getting ready to celebrate being WWE champion, and Austin comes out and wants to get a rematch on Raw, and he does. And they have like a 15-minute match, and Austin wins the title back. It's a pretty good match. It's on the network on their Attitude Era Raw, but Austin basically after, less than 24 hours after losing the title wins it back on Raw, and I lost my shit because I begged and pleaded my dad to be up, and he actually, I think, sensing the importance of that Raw, and because I would just be relentless and tell him I didn't want to go to bed, let me stay up and watch it. And I lost my shit when he won that title back. And I still now watch that. I probably have watched that Raw now 3 times on the network, and I honestly get goosebumps when I watch that part.
My favorite from being a kid is actually the reason I got into wrestling. Because when we were in 5th grade, the big thing was to go around and give each other Stone Cold Stunners. And I remember being the kid that always got the Stone Cold Stunner for the longest time.
You received?
I received because I just didn't know. Because you weren't like, nowadays we're like adults and we're like, hey man, I'm going to stunner you. Is that okay? And you're like, yeah, of course, bud. But back then you're just standing there and some dude kicks you in the gut and actually tries to give you a Stone Cold Stunner. So I was like, what is this? And they were like, oh, it's a Stone Cold Stunner. It's wrestling. So I started watching wrestling. This was back in the day of Angel Fire and GeoCities. My sister helped me set up an Angel Fire page to document everything that would happen on pay-per-views. I would have composition notebooks. We had a black box at some point. Don't come after me, FBI. And we would watch the pay-per-views. I would sit there with a composition notebook and write notes about everything that happened and then put them on my Angel Fires page.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
It's crazy that now I'm doing a podcast with you.
It came full circle.
Kind of. There was another one. We're going to pull one more from his things. Coolest ring gear. Because we talked about the Becky Lynch gear for a little bit.
Becky Lynch's steampunk goggles, Adrian Neville's penis cape.
Those are your coolest ring gears?
No, I'm just railing them off.
Okay, coolest ring gear.
Dr. Thugonomics lock chain.
Not the worst ring gear, coolest.
Coolest ring gear. I was at an Olive Garden a couple weeks ago, and I saw a dude that had Stone Cold Steve Austin knee braces. And I know that's not necessarily ring gear, but it's definitive. It's a definitive part of his look. So his ankle braces, knee braces, there's been people that have just tried to get those knee braces without any problems that just wanted to have them because of Stone Cold.
I think I would go with that. As cliche as it is, I think that's the best.
There was that. There was, I'm trying to dig deep here, Val Venus's towel.
Yes. All right. Those are your questions. Thank you, Kevin. We will work even more to getting you on the actual show so we can do an interview and just have some fun. And if you want to send more questions, smarkvillepodcast@gmail.com, Smarkville at Twitter, smarkville.tumblr.com, Facebook, search Smarkville. iTunes, subscribe to Smarkville, SoundCloud, Smarkville.
And again, we got a couple suggestions from Kevin on Twitter, but if there's any sort of matches, long, short, that you want to hear us do some sort of like funny commentary for, we'll sit there, put on the network, we'll give off, what you want to start the match at, and you could follow along with us and just listen to our commentary. It's almost like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Just two guys bullshitting watching wrestling, which we already do anyway, so really it would just be us capturing that. Just like this podcast is a audio representation of our daily discussions. That's something we'll start doing in the future. Since we have a pro SoundCloud account with unlimited upload storage, we might as well take advantage of it.
You are correct that Stone Cold never did an Inferno match with Kane, but Taker did.
Yeah.
And I know that other people have with Kane.
Undertaker and Kane are involved in every Inferno match that's ever happened in WWE.
Not like just those two.
Yes.
No, there are other people that have done the Infernos.
Well, I know, like, there was Kane versus Bray Wyatt. That was Bray Wyatt's first match on the main roster.
That's insane.
SummerSlam 2 years ago.
And now it's time for Keeping It Kayfabe.
Gas prices all over America are constantly yo-yoing from a rise to a fall. We're running out of fossil fuels. That much I know because I've heard about it. How much gas is used to bring that Cadillac from event to event? And does somebody have to drive it? Is that Cadillac now convertible? And if so, what are the insurance rates on that thing?
It gets towed around. Someone on Reddit took a picture saying they got stuck behind it on the way home from work. They're like, I got stuck behind JJ's Cadillac. It's just sitting on the bed of like a tow truck.
You're kidding me.
Nope. That's it.
You just broke kayfabe. Fuck keeping it.
Whoops.
We've gotten some requests to do to talk more about Total Divas, and we've also at the same time gotten requests. I'm gonna fucking kill you. We've gotten requests from both sides of the field. Some people that say that they like how much we talk about the Divas, and some people that say that we love the Divas too much. To which I said somebody has to, and we've also gotten specific requests to do some Total Divas plugs and to do some extensive talk about Total Divas. So if you would like to see us do to hear us do a Total Divas podcast, let us know. We have the ability to now that we have SoundCloud Pro, we can put up as much as we want. And now that we figured out that we can do podcasts with me in whatever area, I could just call them up and say, yo, bro, let's pod. And if you like that idea, we'll try it out one time. I like the idea of doing a bit more than just these Monday Night Raw recaps.
And you would think with us being like, smarks and, being smart fans and whatever, that we would be super against the idea of Total Divas, but it's actually quite the opposite. We're pretty into it. I'm all into the story.
Rocks.
I accept the show for what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm into it.
Total Divas rocks, and it's a thing where it's kind of hard to talk about it, like to live tweet it. I feel like we live tweet tough enough, and then by the time we get to Total Divas, I put my phone down, I put the world at my window, and I just watch the Divas be total.
Yeah. We took the whole every commercial break during Tough Enough. We switched the reins of the Twitter so we weren't like double tweeting stuff and conflicting with each other. I wonder if anyone could pick out who's who. Cool.
See you next week, bro.
For all of us in the luxury apartment complex in southern New Jersey, I am Brian Batiste.
And I'm John Bradley, and my favorite wrestlers of the week are John Cena, Sasha Banks, and The Godfather. Have a good week. I'm gonna cry.
Dog. 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 He put the team on his back. Dog. 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 He put the team on his back.